Revenant Hunter, one of the strongest subclasses in the entire game. With one of, if not the strongest neutral games out of all of the classes, the Revenant Hunter subclass just received even more lethality options. With the launch of Season of the Chosen, we have now been given access to even more customization options for our Stasis subclasses. Each class has been given a brand new aspect which, once earned, is now rewarded account-wide. We've also been given 4 new fragments to cater to our build's desires. In this video, we're going to go over the strongest Revenant Hunter build that you can run in PvP. We're going to start off by talking about armor stats and which armor stats you need to prioritize to receive the most benefit from. For this build, we are prioritizing 3 particular stats. Now, that's not to say that we are going to neglect the other ones, because they are also important for this build. But if you were only going to focus on 3 specific tiers, I would prioritize the 3 that we are about to talk about. First and foremost, we are going to want to get our mobility stat to tier 8 or higher for a fast dodge cooldown. Honestly, if you can get this up to tier 9 or even tier 10, I would highly suggest that. This build is heavily dependent on our dodge ability and making sure that we are able to use our dodge as much as we can throughout a match. Anything tier 8 and above should be fine though. The next stat you're going to want to focus on is getting at least tier 5 resilience. The reason for this is because of the current meta that we are in and that 120 hand cannons are so popular to use at this time. With tier 5 resilience, your opponents have to hit 2 crits and 1 body shot to kill you with a 120 hand cannon. Anything lower than tier 5 and your opponents only need to hit 1 crit and 2 body shots on you. Credit to Fallout Plays and Pattycakes on YouTube for their videos and testing. Again, with how prominent 120s are in the Crucible right now, I don't really see a reason that you should run anything lower than a tier 5. You're just putting yourself at such a disadvantage before you even start an engagement. I highly suggest you prioritize this stat no matter what class you play on. Finally, we want to prioritize a recovery stat of tier 9 or higher. Recovery should almost always be tier 9 or higher. Tier 10 is ideal. Anything lower than tier 9 and you start to see some diminishing returns. Having high recovery allows you to re-engage in fights more frequently and spend less time in between fights being low health. So, depending on what playlists you frequent the most, 6v6 modes especially, having a high recovery stat simply lets you get into fights with more health at a faster pace. So, get that recovery as high as you can. I do want to mention that we have a community Discord server with a whole bunch of people looking to min-max their builds. We've got an LFG system for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC if you're looking for some pretty cool people to play with. The Discord is also a place where you can share some of your own content as well. If you've got videos, streams, or art that you'd like to share with others, we have a channel solely dedicated to that. I'll put a joinable link in the description, and it will also be in the pinned comment down below if you want to join. I'd love to chat with you guys over there. Okay, next I wanted to go over what armor mods and armor pieces we are going to use with this build. First of all, we are running some Charged with Light mods for extra damage boosts, as well as some big stat bonuses to mobility and strength, thanks to Powerful Friends and Radiant Light. Check out my Crucible armor mod video if you want to know more about how you can use those mods in your build. I'm also using the bomber mods on my solar class item, which gives me grenade energy whenever I use my class ability. Again, that's why we're trying to run as much mobility as we can. Our dodge ability is buffing a few different parts of our build, so the more times we can use our dodge, the more that it is benefiting our other abilities. Our exotic armor piece is the helmet Mask of Bakris. Bakris replaces the regular stasis dodge with a longer range, faster moving shift, kinda like a teleport. After you shift, your arc weapons deal increased damage for a short time, as well as increased damage to all slowed or frozen enemies. This works really well with a few different aspect and fragments options, which we will talk about in a bit. Let's move over to our Stasis subclass and talk about the specific perks we will be using. We're going to start by using Marksman's Dodge. Marksman's Dodge works really well for this build since we've got 2 shuriken charges and a fast cooldown on our dodge ability due to our high mobility stat. So as long as you're dodging near an enemy, you'll get your melee charges back pretty frequently and you won't have to worry about having a high strength stat. For our jump, I always recommend using strafe jump as it gives you a little bit of a boost in speed whenever you are double jumping around the map. You could also go for triple jump here and be just fine, though I'd maybe give strafe jump a try if you haven't been using it. The grenade we will be using is the Glacier Grenade. Now, despite Shatter Dive damage being nerfed in conjunction with the Glacier Grenade, it is still very usable in PvP as of the making of this video. We will talk more about its function and purpose here in a second. The aspects we are going to be using are Shatter Dive and Winter's Shroud, which slows nearby targets when we dodge near them. The other aspect is the new aspect from Season of the Chosen, which is Grim Harvest, which states that defeating slowed or frozen combatants creates stasis shards. These shards grant melee energy when picked up by guardians or their allies. While this aspect has some potential in some other builds, which I might go over at a later date, for this specific build we won't be using it. For Fragments, we will be using Whisper of Fissures, which increases the damage and the size of the burst when you destroy a crystal or a frozen target. We are also using Whisper of Shards, which says that shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate, and that shattering additional stasis crystals increases the duration of that benefit. It also adds plus 10 resilience, which is very helpful since we are trying to spec for at least tier 5 resilience, so that we aren't dying to 1 crit and 2 body shots from a 120 hand cannon. Another great thing about Whisper of Shards is that the crystals you destroy don't have to be you or your teammates. You can also destroy an enemy's crystal and still receive the increased grenade cooldown. So keep that in mind whenever you're roaming around the map. Both of these fragments synergize with each other very well, which is why we aren't too worried about what our discipline stat is. If we use these fragments synergistically, as well as dodging near enemies to activate that bomber perk on our class item, we will be able to get our grenade charge back pretty frequently. I also think that another one of the new fragments, Whisper of Chains, has some really good synergy with this build as well. Whisper of Chains states that while you are near frozen targets or a friendly stasis crystal, you take reduced damage from targets. It also grants plus 10 recovery just for being equipped. So anytime you are standing next to a frozen teammate or a friendly stasis crystal, you will take reduced damage from enemies. How much damage, you ask? Well, according to everything I've seen, you take about 25% less damage from all weapons, which, in my opinion, is a really viable option to use in PvP. It essentially forces all 120 hand cannons to get 3 headshots in order to kill an enemy, and forces all 140 hand cannons to be a 4-shot kill. One of the great things about this is that you don't need to be standing right next to a friendly stasis crystal in order to receive the buff. It actually grants you the buff as long as you're standing anywhere between 12 to 15 meters away from it. This is a fantastic fragment simply from its perk alone, and on top of that we also get plus 10 to our recovery stat. I mean, you can't ask for much more from a singular fragment. Now, what are the functions of this build? Why are we speccing for certain things and not giving as much attention to other parts of our build? Let's talk about it. I've broken down the functions of this build into 3 different subsets. The first is having high mobility. Like I mentioned earlier, using our dodge ability is the catalyst for this build. So much of what we are going to be doing is hinged on the fact that we need to dodge in order to activate different abilities or perks. Having high mobility allows us to dodge as frequently as we can, and when we use it near enemies, we are not only slowing them thanks to one of our aspects, but it also gives us a melee charge back instantly. We also see benefits to our grenade cooldown when we dodge, thanks to the 2 bomber perks on our solar class item. I think you're all starting to see just how important it is that we are able to get our dodge back as quickly as possible. The next function of our build has to do with the Glacier Grenade and the synergy between Whisper of Fissures, Whisper of Shards, and even Whisper of Chains. This pairing simply allows us to protect ourselves in situations where we might be getting rushed, caught off guard, or even trying to shut down the occasional super. Though if you're trying to shut down a behemoth, well, let's just say you'd have better luck trying to give a cat a bath. Glacier Grenade is also extremely useful if you're just trying to block lines of sight. Whether it's to pick up heavy or to block off a main lane so that you can cap a zone, it is a very effective way to prevent your opponent from being aggressive while also receiving some damage reduction buffs if you choose to use Whisper of Chains. Because let's be real, anytime you see a wall of stasis crystals, you're more than likely not going to be standing close to it. You're either finding a new lane to challenge, or you're going to be sitting there spamming the wall to try and break the crystal. I know Duskfield nades are also very good, and I actually foresee them being very prominent in Season of the Chosen, but like I said, for this specific build, we're going to be using Glacier Grenades in a more defensive and reactionary way. The third function of our build has to do with our exotic armor piece, Mask of Bakris. Bakris is great for maneuverability in both offensive and defensive ways. The great thing about Bakris is that it gives you a better version of the dodge ability. Briefly turning you invisible while also giving your dodge more range is really nice in PvP. One thing that makes Bakris so special is that not only can you use it to get yourself out of some sticky situations, but you can also use it aggressively, almost like how you might use Blink. There are two ways where I have found that Bakris really enhances my gameplay. The first is when I'm in situations where I might be stuck behind cover and my opponents know I'm stuck behind cover. What Bakris allows me to do is to quickly dodge to another location without being shot and possibly without even being seen, if I do it well enough. The second way I've found it to be really effective is when I'm trying to push 1 or 2 enemies and I'm stuck in the open. What I do is I activate my dodge, and instead of going to either of my sides to try and find cover, I use it to push right into their face, or if I'm close enough, I will dodge so that I end up behind them. I can't even count the amount of times I've done this and effectively taken out 1 or even 2 enemies simply because they weren't able to track me after I had dodged. The best part about Bakris is the combination of it cloaking you and the extra boost to your dodge range that it provides. Putting all of that together is very effective in PvP, and I'm actually really surprised that I don't run into it more. On a side note for Mask of Bakris, the 10-second cooldown you get after you dodge actually goes away whenever you die. So let's say you dodge and the 10-second cooldown starts, but then you get sniped. When you respawn, the debuff is gone, and your dodge actually starts to cool down like it normally would. Now, that doesn't mean you can just go around dying a bunch so that you can get your dodge back faster. I just wanted to make sure I gave everyone as much info as I could about how Bakris works, because I know it can be kind of overwhelming. If you're a Revenant Hunter player, what aspects and fragments do you use in your build for PvP? Let's talk about it down in the comments. Again, a link to join our community Discord server is in the description of this video, and it's also going to be the top comment in the comment section. If you found this video helpful or engaging, I'd really appreciate you hitting the subscribe button. It really does help these videos reach more people. Thank you all very much for watching. Liking the video is always appreciated, and as always, we'll see ya.